Today I want you to grab a cup of coffee. In my case, this is chai. A little bit of alcohol, something comfy, warm socks, grab a blanket. It's January 2024, and there are a couple of legal things that you probably want to be aware of, and unfortunately, you're not going to be able to escape them. You do actually have to do these two things, most of you. But before I dive into what they actually are, if you don't know who I am, my name is Caitlin. I run Launch the Damn Thing, and I am a Squarespace web designer and educator. I've been a graphic designer by trade since 2006, and because I know things, I have a lot of people, friends in the network that keep me up to date. There are two things that you probably haven't heard, but you need to know for 2024. So let's talk about what those two things are. And don't forget to grab your coffee because you're probably going to want to stay awake for this. So the first thing I want you to be aware of is that there is, for most LLCs in the United States, a new registry that we have to sign up for. There is a free ebook on this from Creative Law Shop that's like 30-ish pages. I'm not kidding. It's very well organized though. You can skim through it. That will tell you specifically whether or not you qualify to be on this registry. Hint, most of us do. If you're an LLC in the United States, you probably do. So go check out the ebook. I will make sure there is a link below for you to grab that. It will answer most of your questions. So what is it? What is the registry? Does it cost anything? It's free, don't worry. The registry is through the U.S. Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or for short, FinCEN. FINCEN. You've probably never heard of them before, but there's a reason for that, because they're kind of branching into this in order to control money laundering, where people are funneling money through small LLCs, which is primarily why it's affecting us. So the new federal law that is associated with this is called the Corporate Transparency Act. It's also called the Beneficial Ownership Reporting Requirement. And it's also referred to as the Beneficial Ownership Information, BOI, BOR, or CTA. Those are all of the different ways that you might hear about this being referred to, and that's what this is talking about. There's a new law associated with this new department that is supposed to help track money laundering, basically. To know whether or not LLCs are money laundering, they have to have a list of everybody in the United States. So the new mandate is that we have to register to this registry. That's it. There's a link you can go to, and that is fincen.gov/BOI. And again, this is only for people in the US, to my knowledge. Again, I'm not an attorney. Should have started with that. I am not an attorney. I am not pretending to be an attorney. This is not legal advice, but I do recommend that you at least go download the free ebook so that you know whether or not this applies to you, because we can't ignore this issue, right? This is a new legal requirement. It is a federal law. You cannot ignore it. Eventually, they will track you down, and there are substantial civil and criminal penalties associated with noncompliance. And when I'm talking about jail time of up to 2 years or thousands, plural, of dollars in fines. So you do not want to ignore this. But I can say firsthand, I've already registered mine, and it took me 5 or 10 minutes. It's very easy. Again, it is free. You don't have to pay anything to be on this registry. So basically, just go ahead and knock it out. There's a couple of things that you do need to know before you move forward. And I'm looking at my notes because this is very specific information. The registry, again, is for most LLCs based in the United States, with very few exceptions. Again, the ebook will list what those are. If you form your entity after January 1st, 2024, you have 90 days to register. So you have to go to that website, register your business, so that they can track whether or not you're money laundering, basically, which means if you're not money laundering, you don't have anything to worry about. Just go ahead and register yourself. If you formed your business prior to January 1st, 2024, you have all of 2024 to register, but I encourage you to go ahead and do it because otherwise you could very easily forget. This is not a routine. There's not a habit. I do not know if we will have to do this every year, but if you wait until December 31st, I guarantee you, you're going to forget. So do it now. So again, this was created for the purpose of tracking businesses that are doing nefarious shit with their money. So basically that's why it affects LLCs, because a lot of the time, apparently that is being funneled through kind of like fake companies that don't really do anything or don't really exist. But again, you can get the ebook from Creative Law Shops. It's shopcreativelaw.com/BOR. If you want to know how to file, I encourage you to go check out Creative Law Shop's Instagram. They posted recently on exactly how to file and register your business through the online system. So there are screenshots. They've highlighted areas to explain things that may or may not make sense to you. So go check that out if you have any questions. There is also a live masterclass replay that she specifically talks about this on. I attended the live version, got to ask some questions. You can watch the replay anytime. I'll make sure there's a link for that below too. If you want 10% off, you can use my code on anything in the Creative Law Shop's shop. If you use my affiliate code, launch10 for 10% off. Okay, so that's the BOR. Now let's talk about the second issue. The second thing is going to apply to a lot more people because this is not specific to people in the United States. This is specific to anyone that has an email service with either Google or Yahoo. If you've gotten an email about this recently, you might kind of know what I'm talking about, but you probably have questions because I did too. Recently, I took the workshop from ConvertKit because that is the email marketing service that I use, but my email is through Google Workspace. So this applied to me whether or not I'm using Flowdesk, MailerLite, MailChimp, Squarespace email campaigns, ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, Drip, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is actually tied to who we use for our actual email service, as in the inbox, the place that people send email to, whether or not you're an email marketing person. What it actually is to help us make our email verified, essentially, so that we can say, yes, we are who we say we are, and we do not send spam emails. So basically, they're trying to curb the amount of spam that ends up in people's inboxes and fix a lot of this spammy kind of bullshit that's been going around for the last few years, which I actually think is a really good thing. That said, if you ignore this, and you're someone who is sending emails to your email list from an @gmail.com or an @yahoo.com email address, you're probably going to end up in everybody's spam boxes, and nothing that you're doing is going to be worth the effort because it's not actually getting any eyeballs. So this is going to definitely cause problems for anyone that is not using a custom branded domain. And what I mean by that is @yourdomain.com versus @gmail.com. I know that a lot of email service providers will let you send emails from an @gmail, @yahoo address, but not anymore. That's changing. So that's part number one. You will need a domain, and that domain will need to be verified with the company or the email service provider that you're using in order for Google and Yahoo not to list your emails as spam in other people's inboxes. So that's a very loose description of what's happening. What are the requirements? Well, Yahoo specifically would not tell us the number of emails sent per month where they would consider us a bulk sender, because again, let me back up, I'm getting ahead of myself. This only applies to bulk senders. But because we don't have a specific number from Yahoo to know whether or not we've hit this threshold, it's a little bit hard to navigate. Google did specify that it's 5,000 or more emails per month, but because Yahoo would not specify, it could be actually lower than that. And if your first reaction to that was, I definitely don't send 5,000 emails per month, Caitlin, so this doesn't apply to me, you're probably wrong. It's actually a lot easier to hit that number than you might think. So let's take a step back. Let's say you have 500 subscribers on your email list and you send one email per week. That is one email to 500 people 4 times. So that is 4 times 500, right? That means you're hitting like 2,000 emails per month. If Yahoo's threshold is 2,000, you've already hit that limit. You're in the threshold, baby. So that doesn't even include the number of emails that you send in your welcome sequence. So if you're getting a lot of new subscribers and they're getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 emails per day or per month, and if you have funnels set up through your email marketing, whatever, if you send email blasts to clients, a list of people, and all of them are on the system too, whether or not you're actually using ConvertKit or Flowdesk or whatever, even if you're just like carbon copying, if you are sending emails to a total across all these places of 5,000-ish people per month, you are part of this issue and you will need to actually do something with this. So, okay. Now you know, you probably need to just go ahead and do it anyway. So you're like, okay, Caitlin, fine. What are we supposed to do? All right. So let me look at my list because it's not something that I can just retain in my brain, unfortunately. So the new requirements are you have to pass SPF and DKIM, D-K-I-M. Those are both records that you would add to your custom domain. So this is one reason why if you don't have a custom domain and you've been sending from an @Gmail, you need to get one because you can't put these records on an @Gmail. That's not your domain, that's Google's. Or an @Yahoo, that's not your domain, that's Yahoo's. So the number one thing is that we have to pass those records, meaning they have to exist and they have to be installed correctly. The second thing is that you're going to want a DMARC record, and that is DMARC. It is a sending policy for the domain. You have to have that as well. Don't worry, you can Google this. There is actually a website I'll link below that will give you or create the record for you, but you do have to install it. It is installed as a text record on your domain, which is really easy to add, especially if you have your domain through Squarespace. The domain and the sender's from header must be aligned with either the SPF domain or the DKIM domain, so one or the other that has to pass. You have to ensure that sending domains and IPs have valid forward and reverse DNS records. I know this is starting to sound like total mumbo jumbo to a lot of you, but hang in there with me. You have to keep spam rates reported in Google Postmaster tools below 0.1%. That is 0.1%, if I am remembering how to do percent math correctly, which is, here or there. I am an art major. And you have to have one-click unsubscribe and no more sending from @Gmail or @Yahoo. So those are all of the requirements. Now, you're probably wondering, how on earth do you know what your spam complaint report is? Well, if you register through Google Postmaster tools, which is free, by the way, as are many of Google's other tools, you can see after you register how often people are reporting your emails as spam. And what they mean by that is literally like marking an email as spam. So you want to keep that number low. My rate for the last 120 days as of recording was 0%. So go sign up. It's free. Like I said, you don't need anything. Just you need to create your account and take a look at what your reporting record is. So for ConvertKit users specifically, because that's what I am using myself, these are things that you must do before February 2024, and you can get this done in a weekend or a day or a morning even if you know what you're doing. Make sure you reach out to their support, whoever your ESP is, that's your email service provider. If you are using something like MailerLite, Flowdesk, ConvertKit, they already are aware of this, so you can ask them for help on how to do the thing. And if they tell you that these are things you have to handle on your domain, then you just need to reach out to support through your domain host, whoever that is. For people at Squarespace, you can just reach out to Squarespace chat and they will help you create or check these records to make sure they are entered correctly. So again, for ConvertKit customers, you have to set up a verified sending domain. So this is your SPF and your DKIM records. You have to create a DMARC record. Again, they will give you the value for this, the generic starting point, and they will tell you what to do, but you still have to go on your domain and create it. Same thing for the SPF and the DKIM records. You're going to have to create all three of these on your domain, and then they will help you verify that you've done it correctly. ConvertKit also wants you to monitor your complaints in Google Postmaster tools. So again, you're going to have to go create your account through that. but it's free. So originally the percent was 0.3%. It's been changed since then to 0.1%. So the threshold for the number of people that can mark you as spam before you actually get marked as spam by Google or Yahoo and not by the recipient is extremely low. So you need to be very careful about your sending. Now, for those of us like me, I do not spam my people, so my complaint rate is very low. All of my emails have high value. They're usually attached to a blog post, and on the off chance that they aren't, they are still attached to something of value for my audience. So just make sure that what you're sending to people is stuff that they're actually interested in, and then they won't mark you as spam. Kind of a golden rule for having an effective email list. Okay, and then the last thing was any gmail.com senders must start sending from their own domain, not from Gmail, and the same thing for Yahoo. So that's the list from ConvertKit. It's basically the same as the set of requirements. The only difference is ConvertKit's actually going to do a lot of the backend stuff for us. So the only thing that we have left is to 1, set up a verified sending domain, 2, set a DMARC record, and 3, create a free account with Google Postmaster Tools so that you can monitor your spam reporting rate. Ooh, okay, we made it. After one too many pauses on this video, a lot of software troubleshooting, my cat coming in and jingling and scratching on her scratching post, which is just outside of the frame here, my dog getting terrified that the dryer is running because things are going clickety-clack in the laundry room, and she's decided that she's terrified of that, and my chai going cold, it getting dark outside, I've missed dinner, it is time to wrap this shit up. It's been one hell of a recording session, let me tell you. It's a good thing that I can pause this and edit it later, right? Okay, so you didn't need to know all that, but I told you anyway, because it wouldn't be real if I didn't tell you all the horror that I experienced while I was filming this very uninteresting video. But I hope it's been helpful for you. If you need some extra resources to figure all this shit out, I'm going to put a link below to the accompanying blog post where you can go find all of this stuff. So the post on Instagram that shows you how to submit your BOI report, and there is, what else was I gonna, the workshop from ConvertKit if you want to watch the replay of that if it's still available, some articles from ConvertKit that show you how to do the things. If you have questions about the email stuff, there are support places that you can contact. I would recommend reaching out to your domain host, whoever that is, and your email marketing service provider, whoever that is, if you have questions, because obviously bigwigs like Google and Yahoo probably don't have great support or easy to contact support. So these are two things that are not that exciting, but they do need to be done quickly, and I just wanted to make sure that you were aware, because not doing these things this year is not an option. I just want to put that out there one more time. You cannot not do these things if your email is through Google or Yahoo, and if your LLC is based in the United States, you have to rewatch the video if you need to. Go check out all the resources and go do the thing. All right, that's all I got for you. I'll see you next week. Bye.